You walk into a room, there are people in it, and there's a dog. And your whole nervous system makes its choice before you've consciously decided anything. You greet the dog first. Your shoulders drop, something in your chest unclenches. Then you turn to the humans and the bracing begins again. The small talk, the scanning, the quiet effort of being a person around other people. And somewhere underneath you've wondered about it. Why do I feel safer with my animal than with most of the people in my life? Is something wrong with me? 3 things in this video. The exact neuroscience of why your brain bonds more easily with an animal than a human. The childhood architecture underneath it, and the honest split between 2 completely different versions of this attachment that look identical from outside. Same love, opposite function. First, the most important reframe of this entire video, because most people who feel this carry quiet shame about it, and the shame is built on a misunderstanding. You don't love your animal more than people. You love your animal more easily than people. Those are not the same thing, and the difference is the whole story. Second, to understand why, you have to know what your brain is actually doing in every human interaction, because it's doing far more work than you realize. Attachment researcher John Bowlby established that every human needs a secure base, a reliable source of safety the nervous system can return to in order to regulate itself. But here's what human interaction costs your brain. Every conversation requires your prefrontal cortex to decode micro-expressions, navigate social hierarchies, manage the risk of judgment, and predict whether this person is safe. For someone who's lived through unpredictable relationships, that processing isn't neutral. Your amygdala, the brain's threat radar, can't fully tell the difference between an emotional risk and a physical one. So a room full of people registers as a room full of low-level threat. Now watch what happens when an animal enters the same room. A dog or a cat has 0 capacity for judgment. They don't evaluate your income, your weight, your social status, or what you said 3 years ago. They offer something almost no human can offer consistently: complete presence with 0 evaluation. And when your brain detects that, the threat radar finally powers down. Your nervous system drops into what neuroscientist Stephen Porges calls ventral vagal safety, the biological state where your body stops bracing and finally feels, "I'm okay right now." For some people, their animal is the only thing in their entire day that produces that state. Third, and here's where the science gets remarkable. Because the bond you feel isn't sentimental projection, it's measurable, and it lives in your bloodstream. In 2015, researcher Miho Nagasawa and her team at Azabu University published a study in the journal Science that changed how we understand this entirely. Hit subscribe if any of this is hitting closer than you expected. Because what they found dismantles the cynical idea that your animal only sees you as a food source. They measured oxytocin, the bonding hormone released between a mother and her newborn, in both humans and their dogs, before and after sustained mutual eye contact. When a human and a dog held an affectionate gaze, both species showed a simultaneous spike in oxytocin, the exact same neurochemical loop that bonds a parent to a child, firing between 2 different species. And the detail that makes it undeniable, they ran the same test with hand-raised wolves. The loop didn't fire. This bond evolved specifically between humans and dogs, across thousands of years of living alongside each other. So when you say your dog feels like family, when you feel a deeper connection to your cat than to some relatives, you're not exaggerating. Your brain chemistry genuinely cannot tell the difference. To your deep mammalian brain, that love is real. Fourth, let's name the childhood layer, because this attachment pattern almost always traces back further than the animal itself. Many people who bond more easily with animals grew up where human love came with conditions, where affection was unpredictable, where being yourself sometimes got punished and being useful sometimes got rewarded. A child in that environment learns a quiet rule. People are unpredictable. Their love has terms. I have to earn it, manage it, and brace for it being withdrawn. And then somewhere, maybe a childhood pet, maybe one later, they meet a creature whose love has no terms at all. That doesn't withdraw. That doesn't keep score. That is simply reliably glad they exist. For a nervous system raised on conditional love, that's not just nice. It's the first taste of safety that doesn't have to be earned. Of course, the brain reaches for it. It would be strange if it didn't. Fifth, and here's why this matters more now than it ever has. Research from the Human Animal Bond Research Institute found that the overwhelming majority of pet owners, around 74%, report measurably better mental health because of their animals. In an era of record loneliness, your animal isn't a quirky preference. It's frequently doing the emotional regulation work that an entire community used to do. That's not pathology. That's a nervous system finding safety wherever safety is actually available. Sixth, the gentle challenge, not an attack, a quiet observation. Because there's a point where this beautiful, protective bond can quietly become something that keeps you stuck. And the difference is worth seeing clearly. The pet can be the bridge that helps you feel safe enough to return to the human world. Or the pet can become the wall that means you never have to risk the human world again. Same animal. Two completely different roles. Seventh, and here's the honest split. Because two completely different people feel stronger attachment to their animals than to humans. They look identical, they're not. The first type is sanctuary attachment. Your animal regulates you. They're your safe base. And from that safety, you're more able to go back out and try with people, steadier, calmer, less braced. The second type is substitution attachment. Your animal doesn't refuel you for the human world, they replace it. The bond becomes the reason you stop trying with people altogether. Why risk the mess of humans when this love is free and guaranteed? Same love, opposite function. The test is simple. Does your bond with your animal leave you more able to face people, or is it slowly becoming the reason you don't have to? Sanctuary refuels you for connection. Substitution quietly replaces it. And here's the gentlest way to check. Notice whether your animal is the place you recover before re-entering your life or the place you retreat instead of it. Almost everyone watching this is the first type most of the time. Genuine sanctuary. A nervous system using the safest relationship it has to stay regulated in a hard world. But if you felt the bond slowly becoming the wall, the reason the human attempt stopped, that's worth naming. Not to shame yourself. Just to see the difference between a sanctuary and a hiding place. There's a line worth carrying with you after this video ends. Your animal didn't replace people. Your animal showed you what safety actually feels like in your body, so you'd finally recognize it when a person offers you the same thing. They taught your nervous system the shape of unconditional acceptance. That's not a consolation prize for failing at humans, that's a template. A reference point you didn't have before. Before you go, here's one thing to try in the next 24 hours. It uses the bond instead of fighting it. Next time your animal regulates you, after the walk, the cuddle, the moment your shoulders finally drop, notice that you're sitting inside a rare window of nervous system safety. 20 minutes where your body isn't braced, use that window. Send one low-stakes message to one human, a text, a small reach. Let the safety your animal gave you become the launch pad, not the final destination. Come back and tell me in the comments what happened. If you've spent years feeling defective for loving an animal more easily than the people around you, you're not. You're a nervous system that found the one relationship where it was finally allowed to rest. That bond is real. The oxytocin is real. The safety is real. None of it is a substitute for being human. It's proof you were always capable of deep connection. You just needed somewhere safe enough to feel it. Love the animal for exactly what it is: pure, reliable, undemanding safety. And let that safety be the thing that slowly, gently gives you the courage to risk people again. If any of this hit subscribe and like. It genuinely helps the channel reach more people who need to hear it. Tell me in the comments, is your animal a sanctuary that refuels you for people, or has it quietly become the wall? Honest answer